All right, we live with it. Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 48. And today, as you see the title, I'm going to be doing my NHL Stanley Cup predictions, the NBA Finals day wrap up. The Eastern Conference Finals wrapped up today, so the NBA Finals are set. So we should be, so I'm going to do my predictions for that as well. Get some, I'm going to give my wrestling awards for the month as I do each month. I'm probably getting, that's going to be the first thing I get into. Then obviously I'm gonna close with athletes of the week. I gotta see what else am I talking about. I do got a question. It's one question that I want to answer. Well, it's two questions. One about the WNBA. Want to talk about is it better for them to get more expansion teams or to uh to add more roster spots? Which I might get into that one first because then and then the other question is what sport do you have the most pressure on you to win in? So I'm getting into all that in just a second. Damn, it's hot. Okay. Let me see what I want to talk about first. We'll talk about the WNBA first. I'm gonna talk about the. So the question is, should the WNBA add more expansion teams or roster spots? And I was thinking about this because the Valkyries had to cut 3 players. I think I'm pretty sure they had to cut 3 players because one of their rookies ended up staying overseas for another season, saying she didn't want to go to the U.S. this year. So even though she got drafted, she still decided not to go to the league yet. So now that kind of messes up for the Valkyries because now they got to cut multiple rookies, and the only one they could keep is the one they picked last and was the least expensive, like the ones picked in the earlier round, or they had to get somebody that was undrafted. So the contract is cheaper. So that kind of sucks because it's only 12 roster spots, and the NBA is 15, and obviously people like to compare the WNBA and NBA, and it is similar in some ways. And then they have their own stuff in their own way, but the roster spot should be similar to the NBA with 15. Like they added the Golden State Valkyries, which expansion is cool, but you have expansion teams lined up back to back to back. Like next year, you have the Toronto Tempo coming into the league, so that's going to be a second of 3 upcoming expansion teams because the first one we already got in the Golden State Valkyries. Then in 2027, I'm pretty sure it's going to be another expansion team, and that's going to be the last one for a while. But that's not really smart because you don't have the roster spots to do that. So even with you adding 12 more spots, there's still people who don't have a job. There's 13 teams in the league, and Kennedy Carter isn't in the league right now. She's not playing. And Kennedy Carter isn't some bum. Like obviously she had the situation with Caitlin Clark last year, but I got to pull up her stats because Kennedy Carter wasn't a bum. She was good last year. She was uh she was leading the Sky offense. I cannot find. Okay, her name is spelled weird. Her name starts with a C, which is so weird. But anyways, back to Kennedy Carter. Over over her career, she averaged 14.6 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, shooting 47% from the field, only 29 from three. And that's just over her career. And then last year, I'm trying to find her last season stats. And then she only had last season, she finished fourth in the most improved player race, averaged 17.5 points per game, 1.1 steals, which was a career high, 3.1 assists, 3.5 rebounds, which was a career high. Then she shot uh, 48.7% from the field, which is another career high. So she had a career year last year, and that's why she was in the running for most improved player. She played 33 games out of the 40. She started in 20 of them. So not only was she starting, but she not only was she coming off the bench, but she had 13. But she had games where she would start, where she would come off the bench. She could just do a little bit of everything. And even though, like I said, obviously a lot of people look at her weird because of the situation with Caitlin Clark last year and was she in the wrong? Yes, but it doesn't make her a bad player. Like there's plenty of players in basketball history we can look at and be like, they were in the wrong in that certain situation, but it doesn't make him a bad player. So Kennedy Carter, she is a good player, and she definitely improved because she was waived in 2023 after 2 seasons with Atlanta and 1 season with the Sparks. She wasn't doing much of anything. She peaked her rookie year, then she got worse the following 2 seasons, and I don't really know what comes from that or why. But it's like the games where she wasn't playing many games, and in 2020, that's a Kobe year, so a lot of stuff was weird for a lot of people. And then after that, 2023, she got waived, so she had to come back in 2024, sign with the Sky, and then they didn't want to re-sign her after the season, even though she was the reason why they nearly made the playoffs. So that's why I'm like, you don't need expansion teams now until you get more roster spots. And obviously, the WNBA might say they got to put the funds together, but you're able to get expansion teams and have this in the works, then obviously you got to do stuff with the city, this and that. But it's like the WNBA should have funds to get at least 3 more roster spots for each team, because the entire WNBA roster is 12 spots. So you just, let's say you keep the Toronto tempo, so you have 14 teams, 7 in each conference. The one you have for 2027 falls through. If that falls through and you're able to add more roster spots, I think that's more worth it. I honestly think that's more worth it if you do that, because you can get more roster spots. So now you don't have to worry about a first round pick or a top, first round pick or early second round pick getting released because somebody else decided they want to stay in another country for another year. And nothing against that woman, I forgot her name, because that's her choice, that's her life. If she wants to make that decision to stay overseas, she's probably getting more money over there, which is why she stayed. But these WNBA teams need to know that. Did she not sign? Did she not go to the U.S. yet because she doesn't like the team, or did she really just want to stay overseas where she was at? Like, these athletes need to let these teams know that before declaring for the draft, or they should just not be allowed to declare for the draft. You're doing that. Same goes for the NBA. Like, you're gonna wait to come over here, just wait to enter the draft, and then. But it's like, I think more roster spots should be added. What do y'all think? I think it should be more roster spots before they add any more teams to the league. Because there's 2 more expansion teams coming soon, but I don't think it's really needed. I don't think it's necessary, at least not now. Like, expansion is cool, it can work, but you don't need it right now. I think this is one of the worst times to have expansion teams. Like the Golden State Valkyries, they're doing good so far, but with the Toronto tempo and the team that comes after them, I don't think it's going to work out too well, because you're still going to run into the same issue with not having enough roster spots. Because obviously you got to have an expansion draft, so certain people won't be protected, and then contracts they expire, people get traded. Like, it's just a lot that happens. So I think they should add 3 more roster spots, so it's 15 evenly before they do anything, before they add any more expansion teams. Like, after you get done with these expansion teams, don't add any more for a while. Just focus on the roster spots. That's what they should do. That's what they should do, in my opinion. But now I'm moving on to some NBA stuff. The NBA Finals, a preview of that. So the NBA Finals will start on this Thursday. I'm pretty sure. What day is that? June something. June 5th. June 5th. That's game 1. Yeah, I'm excited for it. OKC and the Pacers. A lot of people don't like this matchup, but this is good for basketball. OKC, the number 1 seed in the West. The Pacers, the 4th seed in the East. This wasn't some team that was the bottom of the conference. They were, like, a lot of people praised that Miami Heat run from 2023, was it? When they were the 8th seed. They all called that impressive. So why is it not impressive for the Pacers, who everybody doubted and counted out each and every series they went into? Like, even against the Bucks, people were counting them out. Like, I know some people had the Pacers, but some people were definitely counting out the Bucks and the Pacers in that series. People counted them out against the Cavaliers. People counted them out against the Knicks. And now they've been able to get here. They've grounded their way here. Like, Rick Carlisle is a really good coach, and I got to give credit to him first when it comes to this Pacers team. Like, Rick Carlisle, he's a great coach, so that's the first person I got to give credit to. We've been there for a while, did a great job with this unit that he has. Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Miles Turner, etc. Like, this team is really deep, They're a really great team. They're number one offense for a reason. Like just alone in tonight's game, you got 18 points from Obi Toppin coming off the bench and a 17-point win. You get 11 points from Thomas Bryant. You get Neath. You got the entire starting lineup dropping double-digit points. Tyrese Halliburton had 21 points and 13 assists, along with 6 rebounds. Pascal Siakam had a 31-point game on 10 of 18 shooting. Nembhard had 14 points and 8 assists. Miles Turner only gave you 11, and he only played 21 minutes. But you had really controlled the pace of this game. So it's like the Pacers were able to walk into every series and outplay their opponents each time. They won back-to-back series in 5 games. They beat the Bucks in 5 and it was definitely 2 games that the Bucks should have had. But the Pacers are a team. They're a great team, and they were able to capitalize off those mistakes. Like they were just in the conference finals last year, so they worked their way back to get there. Same with Minnesota. Minnesota and the Pacers were both just in the conference finals last year, and they were the only 2 teams to get back there from last year, and the Pacers ended up advancing to the finals. Like they just play really good team-oriented basketball. Like they're the number one offense in the league, and they don't even take a ton of. I think they're like 10th in three-pointers this season, and even that's still low because it's like you're the top offense, but you're not even top 5 in threes. But they don't have to be because they do so much more. Pascal killing it from the mid-range. Tyrese Halliburton, he's able to go downhill, get to the basket. Miles Turner, he's going to shoot the 3, but he can give you some good post efforts too. Obi Toppin, athletic freak who's going to get to the basket at ease. Like you don't see Obi Toppin shooting a ton of threes. Nembhard, he can shoot from anywhere basically. Mid-range, 3-pointer, it don't really matter. He's able to get you a bucket. So it's like this lineup, this Pacers team, like they really earned this, and they worked their way to this, beating the Bucks in 5 games, beating the Cavs in 5 games, and despite the Cavs having injuries, the Cavs had chances in that series. I can't discredit them for that. I can't and injuries happen every year. Just like when Draymond Green said in his press conference after the Timberwolves series. At the end of the day, injuries happen, and he's been like. Players are going to be on that side of it, and it's going to benefit them sometimes. Sometimes it won't. That's just what it is. The injuries happen. It's just a part of the game. As unfortunate as it is, we can't just blame it. Just can't bring up injuries every time, because if that's the case, you would have to do it every year for every playoff. So then no ring would count. So that's stupid. So they beat the Cavs in 5, and the Cavs had chances, like I said. Then they go and beat the Knicks in 6 games. And it was some fun games in this series, but they end up winning in 6 games and now they're advanced to the finals. Now, as far as OKC goes, number 1 defense in the league, the top 3 offense in the league, swept the Grizzlies, just ran through them. Even that game that Ja got injured, you don't blow a 29-point lead in the playoffs. It just simply doesn't happen. It's happened I know the Clippers came back from down 31 with Shea on that team against the Warriors in game 2. And that's with a fully healthy Warriors team. So you can say that. So you can't really say that, if Josh stays in the game, OKC can't come back. Because we've seen a Clippers team that was led by 2 6-man of the year candidates take the Warriors, one of the greatest dynasties ever, to 6 games and come back from down 31 in a game that were healthy. They can't just say, this player is healthy or not healthy, then maybe then the comeback probably doesn't happen. No, we can't do that. Then 2nd round, they face off against Denver. Everybody's talking about experience this, experience that. Game 7, what happens? They embarrass Denver. Jokic takes 13 shots? Or was that a different game? Because one game he took 13 shots, one game he took 9. And so they embarrassed Denver in that series. Aaron Gordon want to complain about the schedule. You weren't complaining when you were winning the championship in 2023. The playoff schedule has always been the same, so I don't want to hear nobody and these players complaining. MPJ had a shoulder injury. Okay, either get the surgery and don't play, or play and be a bum. Like that's what it comes down to. You decide to play and you underperform. Jamal Murray, he was inconsistent this playoffs. Playoff Murray, he was inconsistent this year. And then OKC they just beat Minnesota in 5 games. Who was in the conference finals last year and lost in 5. And Anthony Edwards in back-to-back years was outplayed severely by the star guard on the other team. Last year it was Luka. This year it was Shea. Anthony Edwards can't be the face of the league. if he's consistently getting outplayed in the conference finals. And it's not even that he's not like Anthony Edwards is a great player, but back-to-back years in the conference finals, he was severely outperformed. It wasn't like, oh, he was slight. It wasn't like Luka was slightly better, Shea was slightly better. No, they were severely better. That's where the issue lies with Anthony Edwards and him in the conference finals. Like as great as he is, as many playoff moments as he does have already, eliminating Kevin Durant, eliminating Jokic, eliminating LeBron, eliminating Jimmy Butler. Like, does he have a great playoff resume so far? For the most part, yes. But back-to-back years, he has flopped in the conference finals. And you can say, oh, it's because of the team, this and that. He didn't perform to his superstar standards. For his superstar status, he didn't perform up to that. I don't care what the rest of the team does. If he's not performing, then the team most likely won't succeed. It's like, let's use LeBron for an example. In 2018, who was on that Cavs team that really gave him help in that finals or in that run in general? Kevin Love. That's really it. So it's like, but LeBron was still great. He had, 51 in game one of the finals versus the Warriors. So we're not blaming him because he's being aggressive. He scored 50 points in game one of the finals. You can't put that loss on him. And I kind of get what J.R. Smith was doing now. He probably thought that Tyronn Lue was going to call the timeout, which is why he ran out. And Ty Lue didn't call the timeout because he did have one left. But, yeah, if Anthony Edwards, if he's the one that performs, he's getting that type of praise like LeBron. If he's the one putting up 50 points, but they lose, like it's not going to be on. Like when Donovan Mitchell puts up 50 points or something like that in the playoffs and loses, he gets praised for it because Donovan Mitchell is aggressive. Now, I'm not saying that he's better, but he has been more aggressive than Anthony Edwards in the playoffs. And he does have a few years of experience on him. But Anthony Edwards has been in this league since 2020 now. So he's going into his 5th or 6th year, if I'm not mistaken. So next year, definitely got to improve. They definitely got to get back to the spot. Like they can't be a 6th seed again because I doubt they make it out the first round again as a 6th seed. Because that's, even though it's happened with them this year and the Pacers last year, that doesn't happen too often. Like it can happen. It is more common than an 8th seed upsetting a 1, but it's not like it's something super common that you can always just have happen. Like sometimes you look into it, they just simply outplayed the Lakers. I'm not saying they looked into that, but they did get a really good matchup finishing at 6. You won't always get a good matchup finishing at the lower end of the West. So they got to improve, get back to where they were last year when they were a top 3 team. And if they do get back to the conference finals, they have to go to the finals. And it has to be led by Anthony Edwards. Because it don't matter if you swap Cat for Randall and even DiVincenzo, the result was the same. For the Timberwolves, the Knicks got a bit further. And they lost in 6. But as far as the finals preview goes, because that's just recapping how both teams got here. OKC, the Pacers number 1 offense, OKC the number 1 defense. We gonna see how this plays out. I see OKC winning the 6 because that Pacers team, it might not be shown on paper, but they're a good defensive team. Like they're really team oriented. Like Rick Carlisle has a good system for them. They all rotate well on. They do good versus their matchups. Like it might not show up on paper, but the Pacers are a good defensive team. They put in the effort. Like defense really comes down to effort. Obviously, if you're like 5'9", 5'10", effort might not really matter because you might just get ran over with. To be honest, just because you're a smaller person. But yeah, I think OKC wins in 6 because they're also top 3 in offense too. Like they're top 3 in offense and defense, so it's hard for me to see them losing. But I do think the Pacers are talented enough to push this. Like I don't think it's going to be a 5-game series, even though OKC can win a 5. A lot of people are predicting that. They did win in they had a sweep. They had a 7-game series. They had a 5-game series. So essentially, I'm saying they're gonna do the I don't know what to call it, but they're gonna complete all the steps of a 7-game series. They swept the Grizzlies already. They had a 7-game series already, and they had a 5-game series. I think this one goes 6. Not just because I want that to happen, because I really don't care what happens. I don't care who wins, because it don't really affect me. I do like SGA. He's definitely one of my favorite players. And this is the first time an MVP has made the finals since 2016. So I do see OKC winning at 6, but the Pacers aren't no pushover team. This is going to be a fun 6 games, even though the Pacers defense might not be what it definitely isn't close to OKC's, because OKC is an all-time defense. Indiana is just good. We're definitely gonna be able to get a couple of these games, like these home games. Like I could see them winning two of their home games in this series. Like I definitely see it going 6 games, and I have OKC winning. I'll be surprised if it goes 7, and I will be surprised if the Pacers won. But the Pacers earned this. The OKC earned this. Both teams deserve to be here. They both worked hard to get to this point and position where they are facing off in the NBA Finals a few days from now. Now to get to some NHL stuff. This one is going to be interesting because this is a rematch from last year with the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, who met here last year, and the Panthers won 4-3. And this is actually the Panthers' third Stanley Cup Finals in a row. They won last year. They lost the year before that. So they have a chance to go back to back. So the Panthers, if they win this, then they officially become a dynasty. Because going to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row, it's not something easy to do. Then winning back to back against the same team that you faced off against last year, like they're able to accomplish that, that would truly be something special. And I said going into the playoffs that Connor McDavid got something to prove. Because I don't really know how much longer he got left, because he'd been in the league for a while. So with the Oilers, I'm not surprised they got here. Like I said, they could get. I did say both of these teams can make deep runs with them both being here last year. And as far as and to talk about how the Oilers got here, they beat the Kings 4-2, and they haven't had home ice in any of these series. Like the Oilers have been on the opposite end of that in all of these series. Like they came into LA and stole the first 2 games in LA, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but they did win at least one of those road games against the Kings. But that was a fun series too. That Oilers Kings series, that was probably my favorite one. Even though it only went 6, I enjoyed that. Then they beat the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas Wings both in 5 games. Two of the top teams. Dallas, who a lot of people had high expectations for. Vegas, who also went 6 in that first round. They were able to pack both of these teams up in 5 to get back to the Stanley Cup. Then the Panthers, as far as they go, they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games to get the playoffs started off, which I wasn't really surprised by that. I think I had them winning in 6, but they won a game earlier. Then they beat the Maple Leafs 4-3, and the Maple Leafs haven't won a game 7 since 2019 or sometime like that. Like it's been a minute since they won a game 7. So them getting them in that position, that definitely favored the Panthers. Then they beat the Hurricanes 4-1. So both of these teams have played 2 5-game series in order to get here. So and the Panthers only played one more game than the Oilers. And then they start June 4th, the day before the NBA Finals start on that Wednesday. So the Panthers stay 12-5 so far this postseason. The Oilers 12-4. This is gonna be a fun series because both teams match up well against each other. Like these teams are still very similar to how they were last year. Like it went 7 last year with the Panthers winning. Like I said, I remember that because it was one last year. Last year was my first season watching hockey, and I did a review for the Stanley Cup. So now I'm in a position where I think I'm comfortable to where I can talk about it on my podcast, do videos about it, do shorts. Now it's not just, oh, here's a video, then wait a few months. Like, no, I can do this consistently now with the hockey content. That's how I feel. Like Sam Bennett with 10 goals so far in this playoffs, I do think he can keep up that same consistency. Leon Draisaitl, he has 7 goals as well. Even though he only has 7, like it's still good because he does so much more. Like, he scans the ice really well. He's done a great job in this playoffs. And I think, like I said, it's gonna be a tough matchup because I don't know. Even though it went 7 last year, I don't know if it goes 7 again this year. It's like it's just so difficult. But it's gonna be hard for either one of these teams to just give up 4 games and give up a lot of goals. Like I don't see a lot of goals being given up in this matchup. Barcode has 11 assists. Like he's been doing a great job setting up his teammates throughout these playoffs so far. And then who's leading the assists for? And Connor McDavid has 20 assists. Like he's Uh, he by far has the most assists in the playoffs so far this season. Like I was mentioning, he has something to prove this year. So I think, even though I would love to see the Panthers win to officially become a dynasty and then win back to back, going 3 years in a row to the Stanley Cup Finals, I do see the Oilers winning this. And even though I said I don't know if it goes seven, I do think it goes seven again. This one, this is more tough for me to decide than the NBA Finals because it's like these teams match up so well against each other. Like I don't know who to really go with, but I'm gonna go with the Oilers in this one in 7 games. I could be wrong. Like, it's just my prediction at the end of the day. So if I'm wrong, then that's fine. But I could be wrong about it. But Connor McDavid's been great this season. I think if Connor McDavid wins, then he'll retire after that. But I definitely see that happening. Then as far as the MVP and stuff goes, which I ain't give, I think Connor McDavid will win MVP if the Oilers win. And then I think Sergio Barbowski will win MVP if the Panthers win. Then for the NBA, because I forgot to do it when I had that up, I think if OKC wins, then SGA would definitely be it for the Finals MVP. And if Indiana wins, probably Tyrese Halliburton. But that just on it. It's definitely because Siakam just won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. You know that get but tricky sometimes. But I can see Tyrese winning it if the Pacers somehow win that series. But that's it for my NHL playoff predictions. And next is the May Wrestling Awards. So each month, if y'all don't follow along with the podcast, each month at the end of the month, I basically give awards for the wrestlers, for each company, for the companies that I watch. I'm not gonna say each company because I don't watch all companies, but for the big four, AEW, New Japan, TNA, and WWE, I give awards kind of like the end of the year awards show I did last year with Black Couch Booking with World of Wrestling. Y'all can find those videos on my channel. You'll probably have to search for it. But I started this new thing this year where I give out awards for each month. Then at the end of the year, I'm gonna do a big live stream, basically giving out awards based off of what I chose for these awards I gave out throughout the year. So and this has been a great month of wrestling. I will say this. This is probably the best month of wrestling so far this year. So let's get into it with the first award being MVP. The MVP of May was definitely Trick Williams working with WWE and TNA. I know people have their opinions and stuff on how they feel about the partnership. I personally like the partnership. I think it's going good. I think Trick Williams did some great stuff, had some good tag team matches, did some good segments, even had a great match with Joe Hendry to beat him for the TNA title. So I definitely got to go with Trick Williams. As far as male superstar of the month, I'll go with Kenny Omega. The build up to the Anarchy in the arena match, that he had a 8-man tag team match, I'm pretty sure, on Dynamite. That was really fun. I think that's like at the beginning of the month, in the Anarchy in the arena was full. He had multiple match of the year candidates in this month alone, and one of them did make it. So he's been having multiple match of the year candidates all year alone, not just this month of May. The And for female superstar of the month, for the second time this year, I'm giving it to Stephanie Valkyrie. I gave it to her in March as well. I feel she's had a good run. Even the match with JC Jane, like it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't nothing terrible either. Like it was a solid match. Just didn't like the decision, but the match was solid. And then she's doing some stuff. She's getting called up to the main roster now. And she's put on some good programs. Stephanie Valkyrie, she had a really great month. For tag team of the month, this is one of the weaker months for tag team wrestling, unfortunately. But all across the board, everywhere else, it was pretty good. But I went Bullet Club, War Dogs, because it was hard to pick a tag team. So I just went with them because they beat House of Torture in a really fun match. It was like a 5-on-5 or a 6-on-6. in a loser leaves Bullet Club match, and the War Dogs ended up winning. And they did some really good stuff, especially at that match was really fun at wrestling. What is it? Dantalka or something like that. And but yeah, it wasn't a lot of great tag team wrestling this month. There was the one dry spot for wrestling, so I just had to leave it. Just had to leave it at that. And then for most improved this month, one with Harley Cameron. Like the stuff she's doing with Anna Jay, Megan Bain, and Penelope Ford and the tag team stuff that they doing, it's really fun. Like I think this is the second time, or since the first time I gave it to Harley Cameron. And yeah, this is the second time I gave that Harley Cameron this year. So shout out Harley Cameron because she's been having a good year. She's been putting on some good matches. Like she's been putting on some fun matches. Like Harley Cameron is a fun character. I like her character. It's really good. It really fits her, and she just looks like she's having fun doing it. So that's something that you definitely gotta appreciate. So shout out to Harley Cameron. For my rookie of the month, as I like to say, it's not somebody that's necessarily new to wrestling, but somebody that's new to the company. And I will go with Penta for the third time this year, as he's been great for WWE. Like, I really enjoyed the stuff he's been doing with WWE. He won his qualifying match. I mean, he's had good match. Just put on good match after good match. Like I don't think Penta's had a bad match in WWE yet, and probably the only match that maybe it's been some like decisions in his matches that I didn't like as far as who took the pin and stuff like that. Penta hasn't had a bad match yet in WWE. Like his run has been really good, being like a mid card guy, potentially upper mid carder, until he teams back up with his brother, which is perfectly fine. Like not everybody is meant for the main event. He's been that in other companies and other places, but he won't be there in WWE, which is fine. But he could be an upper mid card guy. I could definitely see him getting the mid card title. So for these first 5 months, like Penta, this is the third time winning Rookie of the Month, just for him being in a new company, not being somebody new to wrestling, because I know who Penta is. But great month from Penta. For match of the month, which is also the match of the year so far, in my opinion, Anarchy in the Arena, Team AEW defeating Death Riders and the Young Bucks. A fun match, one of the best match of the year so far. I really enjoyed this. I had fun with it. Like it was some crazy spots, but it wasn't nothing too absurd. They didn't overdo it. They did a good job with the spots. So shout out to AEW for doing that. Shout out to all the guys and the women that were in that match. For the best rivalry for this month, I go All Ego Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. Like I felt like their stuff was really fun. They told them like they're able to do good stuff with each other. They've both been great signings for NXT, and I really enjoyed what they have been doing. And I guess this is the end of it for these two. If they're running back a few more times, I would not be mad at that at all. I'd actually love to see that. But yeah, that was definitely the best feud of the month of May for pay-per-view of the month. And we had a few. We had a solid amount of pay-per-views for the month of May. But I'll go with TNA Under Siege. The only pay-per-view I think is a 10 out of 10 so far this year. This is the pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion. And it's going to be hard to top that. But there's legit 5 matches that are match of the year candidates in that one show. And some of them didn't even involve titles. Like Mike Santana defeating Casey Navarre to start off the show. It was a phenomenal match. It was a plot twist because AJ Francis was supposed to fight Mike Santana, but it gets Mike Santana a win. Then he builds up some momentum, goes on NXT to end up beating, I forgot the guy's name, but one of the guys from No Quarter Catch Crew, he went on to beat him. So now he's picked up back-to-back wins, and now it's going to be, now it's in line for a TNA title shot the next week. Tessa Blanchard defeating Ariana Grace. Like Ariana Grace still newer to wrestling, but she's already against some of the top names in TNA. And you can say, oh, that's because of her dad being Santino. But she was able to hang in that match with Tessa Blanchard. That match, that amazing match she had nothing to do with Santino. He definitely trained her, helped her get to where she was at. But she was the one that had to go out there and put on a performance, and she did that with Tessa Blanchard. Who, despite what you might want to say about her being racist or whatever, she's still one of the best wrestlers in TNA, and I can't take that away from her. The Elegance brand retaining the Knockouts Tag Team titles versus Spitfire. and Spitfire having to break up. Not only was it a great match, but it had a great story with it as well. Masha Slamovich defeating Victoria Crawford to retain the Knockouts Championship. Amazing match. And Victoria Crawford's only had 2 matches leading up to that for the first time in a while, first time in years. Joe Hendry and Elijah defeating Frankie Kazarian and Trick Williams the Friday before. Trick ends up beating Joe for the title. That was a really fun tag team match. Like all 5 of these matches can be argued as top 5 matches of the year so far. Like these are all. TNA Under Siege was a 10-match card, 10 or 11 match card, and 5 of those matches were match of the year contenders. And then the other matches weren't bad. There wasn't a bad match on the card. So TNA Under Siege was a perfect pay-per-view in my opinion. The biggest surprise of the month was Joe Hendry losing the TNA title on NXT. I expected him to lose the title. Obviously, he wasn't going to keep the title forever. And obviously, I expected him to lose to Trick once they started teasing it. But I didn't think it was going to happen on NXT, on the NXT show. I thought it would have happened on the TNA show, if anything, because I think that would have got a better reaction from the commentators. Because obviously, Booker T, Wade Beard, what's his name, Vic Joseph, like they gonna be kind of 50-50 because at the end of the day he on their brand, so they don't mind it. But when you had the guy talking about, I forget the commentator's name, but the guys on TNA talking about it, like you're gonna feel more emotion because that's their company. And they're seeing an NXT superstar win it, but it's not an NXT superstar that respects the brand. See, if it was an Obafemi, it might feel different because he respects the brand, he respects wrestling. But when it's somebody like a Trick Williams who's a heel, who's very disrespectful, they don't respect that. So I feel like that reaction they got from the commentators could have been a lot better if it happened on a TNA event. The best return of the month was Hook returning that Double Nothing doing Anarchy in the arena and then not being cool with Samoa Joe because that's like a plot twist, so you don't really know what's going to happen with that. Best segment of the month of May was Hangman and Will Ospreay segment on May 21st. That Wednesday before Double Nothing. This was an amazing segment. This was really good. This some stuff that I want to do something similar to this. Like y'all seen the promo that I just did, calling out Black Contribution and Ricky's Shadow. Like obviously it's nothing comparable to that, but I want to do a promo style kind of similar to that. So I don't know if they gonna see this, but I love to cut a promo kind of like that. Like that's how good that was. Like that gets you invested in a story. Because before that promo, I had Will Ospreay winning. He was gonna be my pick, and I was lucky I didn't do my predictions until after the show. And then Hangman, with the stuff that he said, it was just so captivating, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's definitely winning this now." Like he convinced me that fast. Like with this promo segment alone, now I think Hangman is the one that's gonna win. Best weekly TV show during the month, Impact from TNA Impact. They had the best weekly TV show during the month. Like consistently putting on bangers after bangers after bangers, like having good tag team matches. Like they just had good action in general. Like it felt the pace was had a very good pace. And then to go 4 to 5 episodes they had made. The first one 8.5, second one 6, third one 10. Then the fourth and fifth was both at 9. So that's all the rating out of 10. And if y'all want me to explain my ratings breakdown, I can. Not right now because I still got a few topics to talk about, but I can make a video explaining my ratings topics, the way I rank, how I determine if it's a 10 or less than that, stuff like that. But yeah, I think even their one showed up, I consider a flop, but still above average. It was a 6. So just every week they put on good TV shows. They had good action, had good stories that I was invested in the entire month. And then TNA also won top promotion of the month for me, in my opinion. With and Impact had a rating of 8.5, like an overall rating of an 8.5. And then for the top promotion of May, I would also get at the TNA with a rating overall for this month of a 9.25. I just had a really good month. They're the only company I gave a 9 or above for it's the second time that they've won top promotion of the month. And I think they're tied with AEW. They could be tied with AEW. Yeah, because I gave it to AEW twice, and I just gave it to TNA twice, and gave it to New Japan once. So WWE is yet to win top promotion of the month for me, and that's just my personal opinion. Not that WWE is bad, but it has been, well, I won't say that because NXT has been better in my opinion. So we're just gonna have to revisit that later down the line. But TNA has been the best television. It has been the best. They're telling good stories, having good matches, good promos. Off like everything in TNA is just really good. There's not much bad going on in TNA right now, and obviously things may change by the month. But this is back-to-back months. I gave them the top promotion of the month. So we're just gonna have to see. That also happened with AEW in February and March. Gave them top promotion of the month. Then April and May just gave to TNA. Maybe it goes back to New Japan. It's going into June. Maybe it's WWE. Just gonna have to wait and see the pay per view, see the build up, see all the stories of stuff that goes on, and see what happens with all that. But moving on to the next topic, which is, in what sport do you have the most pressure on you to win in? And this is why I had the golf picture in my thumbnail. I think the sport you have the most pressure on you to win in is a golf, because you could say when it comes to basketball or football or even baseball and hockey, like the big four, but or the soccer, you want to consider that too for the UK people, stuff like that. Like at the end of the day, you have a team around you. You have people, even if you go 5 or 15, you go 10 or 30, you have other teammates who can either help you or not help you. And obviously you want them to help you, but if they don't and they flop, you flop. And it's like if for instance, LeBron in 2007, like everybody says he choked, and then you have one side to say he choked and another side to say he ain't get no help. But at the end of the day, not all that pressure is on LeBron because he has other teammates around him. Obviously, there's pressure on you to win, but I don't think in basketball you have the most pressure on you to win. In football, you're not winning by yourself. Like no quarterback has won on its own. Even if they didn't have the greatest offense, their defense was probably spectacular, and they probably had a good special teams. Why do you think the Packers couldn't beat the 49ers in 2021? Because the special teams was terrible that year and was terrible in that game specifically. Like, so it's hard to say, even though they lost 13-10, Aaron Rodgers could have did a little bit more. Okay, sure, but the special teams also could have played a lot better. The special teams could have played a lot better, but they didn't. So I think when it comes down, and I think this is mainly a thing for individual sports, when you're playing golf, you have to focus. Number one, you got to focus on yourself first and make sure, oh, can I get, oh, it's 486 feet away. Am I able to get a hole in one? But if I'm not, can I at least get it 300 yards down the green? Oh, but I don't want it to go into the trees or go that way or go into the grass. It's like you don't want any of that. That's not what you want. And and then you got to focus. Then you get stuck here, you got to get it out. And then you got to focus on the other guy. He's 482 yards away. So maybe he had a bad first swing. So then he swings it again. Now he's 2 yards away. Oh, that was a great swing. So now can I replicate that? Can I do more than that to get that hole in one? Or can I get it to hit where my ball slightly hits his? Not on purpose, but because that would just help me because I'm trying to get to win at the end of the day. Like I think the sports you have the most pressure on you to win in are individual sports. It's not a sport where you have a team. Like Shohei Ohtani underperformed in the World Series last year, but the Dodgers have a super team. So that was fine. He could underperform and they were still able to be fine despite that. And he had a good playoff run. I'm not saying he was bad in the playoffs. He just underperformed in the World Series specifically. But he had great teammates, a great coaching staff that was able to back him up. And they were able to win still, despite their star player underperforming. So it's like when I look at a golf or a bowling or tennis, like, and obviously there's doubles and singles for tennis. There's tournaments, there are team tournaments for bowling, but they're mainly known as individual sports. That's why I say in golf, like it's you got to focus on somebody else. Like you can't stop nobody. In basketball, you can ask your coach, "Hey, can I switch on?" Shake and be like, Hey, can I switch on instead of being on the key? Can I switch on to Jay McDaniels? Shea can do that. You don't have the luxury of doing that in tennis. Like if Serena Williams and Venus are going at it, you can stop somebody, but you can't just be face guarding them. Like tennis, it's an individual sport, so that obviously puts pressure on you, and then you have doubles sometimes too. So that makes it a bit easier. So I don't know if I consider tennis one. I'm gonna take tennis back, but I'm gonna leave bowling there because yeah, I'm gonna take tennis back and put tennis in the category along with team sports because it can be singles. It's doubles and singles. But the reason I'm gonna take tennis back is because you do have a chance to stop it. You just gotta angle yourself, put yourself in a good position to stop your opponent from winning. So that's a bad example. That's on my part. But what I will say with bowling, if I bowl 3 straight strikes and I gotta hope that the other person only bowls two and gets a 7 pin on the third frame, then he only gets 7 pins out of the 10. Because with that person, let's just say for instance, me and my guy Rage are bowling, and we're both trying to get a 300. Let's say I strike in the first 4 frames, and then let's say this money on the line, it's 15K on the line. In the first, and because it's 10 frames and bowling, in the first 5 frames, I have a perfect game so far. 5 straight strikes, I have 300. Let's say Rage, he's struggling, then he got a few open frames, and let's just say he had a 240. I have a 60 point advantage on him. I could easily blow that. Even with a 60 point advantage, there's still 5 frames left, and you don't know what can happen in 5 frames. I could tweak my pinky a little bit, and that can throw off my rhythm of how I want to bowl. I might stumble on something, then it throws my balance off. Like that's why it's so hard. That's why I say it's more pressure on you to win in the individual sport where you can only put pressure on yourself. Nobody else can. Obviously, people are gonna have money and stuff. Just as what the world has come to with sports betting and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you winning is all determined on you when it comes to golf, when it comes to tennis, and sports that you can't control what the other person is doing. So that's just my opinion. What do y'all think about that question? Let me know about that. And then to wrap the show up, I'm gonna close with athletes of the week. I'm gonna start. So I was just talking about bowling. I'm gonna go to PBA. Just with Severson won in he was in a best of 5 series, won 3-1 versus EJ Tackett in the PBA playoffs championship. So shout out to him. That was a fun matchup. I enjoyed it, but that's where he pretty much had control of most of it. For the WNBA, Satu Sabali from the Phoenix Mercury led them to a 2-1 record this week. And that first win versus the Mystics had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Did shoot 4 of 14 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line. So obviously wasn't one of her best games. She did struggle there, but she picked it up throughout the week, and she had a good week in general. I was able to do so many other things. It's just not just about her scoring, but she can facilitate, she can rebound, she can play good defense. Like in the win versus Sky, she had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Although she shot 7 of 21 from the field and 2 of 8 from 3, she was able to get to the line 6 times and make 4 of them. And then she looked great in a loss versus the Lynx, even though you would love to get that win. This team is still 4-2 in the season, but in this loss, she had 26 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, shot 10 of 20 from the field, didn't make a 3, went 0 of 4, but 16 of those shots came inside the 3. Like she seen that it wasn't falling, so she wasn't taking too many. She got the good open looks when she needed to. And then she shot 7 from the free throw line, and what did result in a loss. But she had a good week overall. For the NBA, I went with Pascal Siakam, had two 30-point games in the last 4 he played this week, and had 3 games shooting above 50%, shooting 50% or better from the field. For the NHL, went with and the Pacers. For the NBA, the Pacers just beat the Knicks to advance to the finals. For the NHL, went with Saratu Skinner from the Oilers. Went 3-0 this week. Wasn't mentioned any other games, unlike some other goalies. Only gave up more than 1 goal once in those 3 games and had above a 95 save percentage in 2 of those games. shout out to him. Now, as for the wrestling, as we have multiple different companies talking about, let's start with New Japan Pro. The Teton won a few matches in the best of the Super Juniors tournament, and I'm pretty sure he finished at the top of Block A. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is where he finished at. So shout out to him. For AEW, one with Hangman, he defeated Ospreay in the Owen Hart Foundation Cup Finals, and what was a great match. Now I see why he was the main event. Kind of wish Anarchy in the arena main evented Double or Nothing, but Hangman and Ospreay put on a classic, and that was definitely a banger. Definitely a top 10 match of the year. Yeah, top 10 match of the year so far. It's not in my top 5 this year, but it is top 10. I will say that. For TNA, I went with Trick Williams defeating Joe Hendry at the pay-per-view for the TNA title, then confronting Mike Santana. That was a good segment on NXT. Then him not even showing up to the arena in TNA on Thursday on Impact, because he said it's no 5-star hotels, nothing like that, and just doing a video package. That was hilarious. Like Hollywood Trick doing some great work, so shout out to him. Then for WWE, I just went with Seth Rollins. Because even though I don't like the character, what he's doing now, the match quality he put on this week was really good. Just him and Braun Breaker teaming up to take on Sammy and Punk and getting the win that Saturday night's main event. Introducing Brunson Reed as a new leader. Okay, I like that. I like the match. It was the only match from Saturday night's main event that I enjoyed. And yeah, and then him winning the triple threat versus Sami Zayn and Gable, did a really good triple threat match. So having 2 matches going 2-0, obviously, like I said, not really rocking with the character, but it is a really good match quality in 1 week when there's 1 day of rest between that, because he had to start the show of the Saturday night's main event, then he had a main event Raw. So shout out Seth Rollins, I guess. But that wraps it up for my athletes of the week. Make sure y'all leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you've seen the replay of this, comment on the video, anything I talked about, some of the questions I had. But peace out and have a great night.